Hello, I hope everyone's doing well. Today we're going to go over multiples and least common multiple. First off, when I say multiple, when I'm talking about multiples, I'm talking about the product of any number and an integer is a number that is not a fraction. So multiples are the product of any number and an integer. Integers are numbers that are not a whole or that are not a fraction, not a fraction or a decimal. And then when I say product, I'm talking about the answer from multiplication. And I ran out of room. So multiples are the product of any number and an integer. Integers are numbers that are not a fraction, and product means the answer from a multiplication problem. When I'm talking about least common multiple, I'm talking about the smallest shared multiple. To find the least common multiple, I have two numbers that I'll be comparing, or maybe more. And what I would do here is I'd find the first 10 multiples of the smaller number. So that would be step one. And then step two, I'm going to find multiples of the bigger number until I get a match. If I don't get a match before my multiples of my bigger number get bigger than the multiples I found of the smaller number, then I'll repeat steps 1 and 2. Let's do a few examples. First, we're going to compare 9 and 21. I'm going to start with 9 because that's my smaller number, and I'm going to find the first 10 multiples. 9 times 1 is 9. 9 times 2 is 18. 9 times 3 is 27. 9 times 4 is 36. 9 times 5 is 45. 9 times 6 is 54. 9 times 7 is 63. 9 times 8 is 72. Then we have 9 times 9 is 81. And 9 times 10, ran out of room, is 90. So now I'll find multiples of 21. And I'll start with 21 times 1 is 21. I don't have a match. 21 times 2 is 42. Still not seeing a match. 21 times 3 is 63. And if I'm looking, I find a match. So my match here is 63. And since my match is 63, my least common multiple is 63. This can be really useful when we're working with fractions and we're trying to work with adding or subtracting two fractions that have different denominators. If we need to find a like denominator, we can use this to find a denominator that we can use as our like denominator. And we'll get into fractions starting next week. Let's do another example. I've got 16 and 10. I'm going to start finding the digits, first 10 multiples of 10. So I've got 10. 10 times 1 is 10. 10 times 2 is 20. 10 times 3 is 30. 10 times 4 is 40. 10 times 5 is 50. Then we get 60, 70, 80, 90, and 100 for 10 times 10. Then for 16, we've got 16 times 1 is 16. 16 times 2, and I don't have a match. 16 times 2 is 32. 16 times 3 is 48. I had to think about that one. 16 times 4 is 64. I'm still not seeing a match. 16 times 5, we get 80. And let's check for a match. Ooh, I do have a match. So 80 is going to be our match. So our least common multiple is 80. We'll do one more. Last one will be 12 and 24. We'll start with 12. 12 times 1 is 12. 12 times 2 is 24. And I actually got 24 is one of my multiples. And if I do my multiples of 24, well, 24 times 1 is 24. So I actually have a match. Sometimes you don't have to do the first 10 multiples because you find a match. If one of your numbers goes into your other number, then that number that we can go into is going to be our least common multiple. So here 24 is our least common multiple. If anyone has any questions, feel free to reach out to me. Y'all have a good day.